We are going live. Another Saturday morning, another coffee and crypto, another Christmas. Look at that. Look at that. Overall, I guess, what can we say about this year? What can we say about 2021? I think everyone can agree it's been as much of a shit show, if not way more than 2020. So I think we're all on par that this has been a crazy time for cryptocurrency and everything else. Merry Christmas. How's it going, Jared? Merry Christmas, absolutely. I think the big thing here that we need to recognize, especially going into the new year, is how much we actually need cryptocurrency right now. I have some videos put together, and honestly, I'm not even expecting many people to tune into the live stream. I'm actually surprised that you came, Jared. Most likely people are going to rewatch the VOD, and I get that a lot of people like to rewatch the VOD and kind of go through there. So we'll talk about where Bitcoin is right now. We'll just do a general market update, go through some news, and then we're going to talk about the Turkish Lira and a bunch of fun stuff that's happening with inflation, and talk about the prospects of 2022 with cryptocurrency and Bitcoin, because I think people need to start getting in the mindset that everything is going to kind of pump up. I'm alone on Christmas because there's a couple of people that just super unlucky got COVID around this time. I know a good buddy of mine just came down with it. Unfortunately, like everyone that he's working with has it, so it sucks. You can't really avoid it when you're working closely with other people. That's really shitty, man. It's a really terrible time of year to get it. So I really hope you feel better. I hope you at least can have some dinner with the family at another day and kind of make up for it. But Christmas is not a fun time to kind of have that set up. So sorry to hear that. Bitcoin is currently sitting at 50,700 right now. Just bear with me here one moment. So we're still within our zone. So we talked a lot about where Bitcoin is in our zone. We talked a lot about this zone before, back when Bitcoin had capitulated, a couple of months ago. Now the thing is, we've been continuously getting rejected at that 52,000 mark. We can see that we sort of hit 52,000 last night. Not really, looking at the daily chart. So we were close to it. We're at the 51,800. I was watching it kind of bouncing up. You could kind of call this a rejection. I wouldn't, because we didn't really touch into it. So we're still going to wait and see exactly what Bitcoin's going to do. I think trading within this channel for the next little while is realistic, but I don't think it's going to last that long. I do think that going into 2022, going into the new year, it's going to spark a lot of movement with the price chart for sure. It's my fault. I went to New York City last week to see David Byrne. Oh, nice. Okay. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. And like right now, I like, it's a lot like cold and flu seasons, right? And the colder the weather, people are going to be inside. It's going to spread a little bit faster, a little bit more. Numbers are up, whether people like it or not. It's the reality of the matter. There's a lot of noise out there, and a lot of people really upset about what's happening right now with restrictions. But it is what it is. If you're not going to be safe, I guess you're just not going to be safe. No, that really sucks. I'm not like making a jab at you anything. I got sick recently too. It wasn't COVID, unfortunately, but there we go. It's just us, buddy. It's just us. So obviously Bitcoin doing very well, getting up to that level. Hopefully we can bump ahead and get above 51,000, getting into the 52,000 mark. That's ideally where I'm hoping. But with that, there's going to be a lot of tokens that we're going to watch into 2022. Like, I don't know specifically, Jared, if you're into like XRP or anything. I know I hold a little bit of XRP. I think we're getting close to the finality of that case in terms of the SEC case. There's actually some tweets that I'll bring up from Brad Garlinghouse. Brad. So he tweeted a big long thread about the SEC, and I think it made a lot of sense. It's basically about the SEC and how they, hold on, I'm trying to find the start of the Twitter thread here. But he was basically saying how the SEC is kind of hurting innovation within the United States, which I fully agree with. So here we go. All right. So 1 year ago today, the SEC filed a lawsuit against Ripple, Chris Larson, and Brad Garlinghouse, alleged that XRP, a public crypto that has been traded on the open market since 2013, should be a registered security. Again, going back to the old discussion about the Howey test, what makes a security, is it an investment contract, that kind of thing. And again, for anyone watching the VOD, a security is like a stock, right? It's just a stock of an organization or a stock of an incentive. A lot of things can be deemed as security, like for example, orange groves being sold, not really sold, more rented, were a security because you're investing in someone else's labor and someone else's work. Of all the shitty things in 2020, this was certainly one to cap off the year, which I agree with that sentiment. But what I said remains painfully true today. This is an attack against crypto in the United States, not just Ripple, which again, totally agree with. It's not just Ripple that's being impacted by this. It's all of cryptocurrency that'll be impacted depending on what happens with the case and what kind of legal precedent is set for cryptocurrencies and everything else. 2021 has been a watershed year for cryptocurrency acceptance and awareness of the opportunity to bring billions of people into the global financial community has never been so clear. And I would say completely with this market, we're absolutely going through. Am I buying anything right now? It's hard to say that I'm buying anything. Like, I'm stacking up on some tokens. I bought a little bit of VeChain at the price that it was at. What did it get down to? Around 8 cents. Around 8 cents. So bought a little bit of VeChain. Really, VeChain's still in a good buy territory right here. But in terms of like bigger cap coins, I didn't really buy ADA. I guess you could have made the argument that I could have bought ADA at around $1.18, somewhere around there. It's just hard for me to justify buying ADA just because of the price that I got into. So, but I wouldn't say that I'm buying all that much. Like, I constantly put my mining profits in Sol right now, and I expect Sol to go higher, but I know there's a lot of bearish sentiment right now with Sol. So I guess at the end of the day, it is what it is. So it's also been incredible to see less maximalism, which I agree with as well. I think maximalism for a lot of ways, like Anthony Pompliano was really big on the Bitcoin maximalism. He still is. He's still a big voice. What I'm saying is it's more died down. I don't see it as much where I have just tons of people saying like, oh, it's only Bitcoin. Well, yeah, there are people like that out there, and there's always going to be people like that out there. But at the end of the day, yeah, I see a lot less maximalism near the end of 2021, and I think that's going to gradually come over time. There's a great article that we're going to look over too about Ethereum and about Polygon and how Polygon enhances Ethereum's speed. But essentially, excuse me. But essentially, what that tells us is there's a bottleneck with Ethereum, and even with ETH 2.0, it's still not going to be able to hold the majority of users that would actually come and use the platform. So at that point, it kind of reinforces the point that we need multiple blockchains and we need multiple services from the get-go anyway. Because one service isn't going to be able to theoretically service everyone in the world at a good functional rate. Proud to say that Ripple's strongest year ever, with XRP based on-demand liquidity payments account for 25% of the volume across RippleNet, and ODL transactions are up 25x from Q3 2022 or 2020, and 130% quarter on quarter. So very well in terms of that regard. Not to mention the ODL corridor between Japan and the United Arab Emirates, and our CBDC solution built on the private version of the public XRPL, partnering with Bhutan and Pelu. I'm not sure who Pelu is. I've heard of Bhutan before. All of this growth came from outside the US, and that's a big deal, right? So it all came from outside of the US going through. There we go. Christmas with your boy Haas. Which I will say, man. Okay, I've been thinking a lot about what you said. I'm gonna have a hot take really quick on Joe Rogan. I've been thinking what you said, and I'm really like upset at where Joe Rogan's going right now. You know what I mean? It's been pretty frustrating. Not gonna lie. It's I like I can't actually watch anymore. It's been a couple of podcasts since I actually watched, but I can't actually watch anymore. So it's been hard losing a podcast legend that I like to watch, and now I really have nothing. So there's a big void left in my heart, and I've been thinking about it ever since you said it. Which brings me back to the SEC as chair, Gary Gensler. And again, Gary Gensler is no friend to cryptocurrency, seeks to expand its remit, and has taken an aggressively anti-crypto approach. And companies are already moving outside of the U.S. Web 2 has been built in America with American country or companies, but Web 3.0 is TBD. And 3.0 is a good ideology to have because when you're talking about blockchain, it really is Web 3.0, right? So we have the internet, we have Web 1, Web version 2 that we all use and interact with today. It's the Facebooks, it's everything else that we interact with in terms of the internet. And then we have this decentralized internet, this decentralized blockchain that is serviced by everyone in the world and part owned by everyone that wants to invest in the network. That's what cryptocurrency is. That's what cryptocurrency does. And it brings a whole new layer. It brings a financial layer to the internet and a layer of anonymity, a layer of cryptography. So very, very well. Is pretty yeah. There was a comment that I read and it resonated like very highly with me. It's like, why can't Joe just chill out with Jamie, smoke some weed, and talk about the moon landing or some shit? You know what I mean? So it's very unfortunate. It's very unfortunate. I don't know if it was Spotify that got him. I don't think so. I think it's just Joe's an impressionable young lad, and that's just it. So calling crypto the Wild West is a farce, and most are complying with the financial regulators. Not most. We have Binance that's really like an outlier here and not really complying a lot. This industry shouldn't be punished for asking for regulatory clarity and regulation, which that's something that Ripple has constantly asked for. Regulatory clarity, regulation, and what's happening with crypto in the crypto space. Iconically enough, and a personal favorite of mine is the brilliance of Joel Katz. Here we go, David Schwartz commenting down below that predicted that this lawsuit could happen almost 2 years before the SEC filed the lawsuit. I think it was kind of evident. A lot of people could probably see this as like an inevitability that the SEC was going to do something to one of the biggest crypto companies, right? They can't really sue Ethereum because who do they sue, right? Do they sue Vitalik? Is it an organization? As much as it is actually in the definition as security, because Vitalik famously like stood up and said, "You buy Ethereum, I will build the system." I find that very hilarious. That's in definition as security. I wish I'd smoke weed on live stream. I've thought about it, but I don't know. I think it's just with YouTube. Like, I don't want to like put it on the YouTube kind of thing. But I don't actually know what the best way would be to go about that. Having like an actual sesh, right? So maybe we'll think about it. Maybe we'll do it one day. I mean, listen. Between me and you, it runs in the veins, right? So it's a daily thing for me, a daily grind on that THC blaze. I'm actually right now smoking some Jack Hair, very, very good. But that being said, I don't know how it'd go about on the live stream. We'll see. Maybe one day, maybe it's a second channel that pops up, something that's more of like a stream and chill kind of channel, and then we can do stuff like that. So. I'll consider something like that. Maybe we can do something like that down the road. Have a second channel that isn't necessarily crypto focused, and we can just like chill and kind of do some live streams and whatnot. This holiday season lets him. So he's basically just calling on everyone to reach out to Congress and make your voices heard, which I think is important, right? Right now with XRP, we have the case nearing finality, right? Because back when the case first started, and again, that was December 22nd of 2020, that the case was announced. I famously held my XRP as everything crashed down. And I still hold all my XRP. I maybe sold a little bit to readjust my portfolio, but it's still like a high percentage of my portfolio. So in no way am I less bullish on XRP than I was before. That being said, at the end of the day, I do expect that the price is going to go higher once the SEC case is finalized, and also once we have that regulatory clarity. I think now is the most important time to actually have this regulatory clarity, mainly because of what's happening in the total economic sphere, what's happening with like the currency crisis and everything else. So we'll get into some news really quick. Then we're going to talk about some Turkey inflation, which I think will be kind of fun. I have some videos prepared. So it's like the teacher kind of wheeling out the TV in class. That's what we're going to do today. Inches away from all-time high, a carbon neutral Solana may soon turn bullish. Now, a lot of people have been bearish about Solana, and I think the reason people have been bearish about Solana is because of where the price has gone. And everyone's thinking, okay, the pump is done and it can't go any higher. The reality is that the network is very nice, very clean, very smooth in terms of the blockchain, in terms of the dApps that run on it. I love it. I think it's probably going to be one of the NFT spots of 2022. So I'm really excited where Solana is going to go. Really big gaming feature around. And also we have big gaming in Polygon too. Which we're going to talk about as well. So I think Polygon is another token that you should absolutely watch and hold for 2022. My highlights are gone. Weird. I highlighted this article the other day. Crypto and that's so good. That's so good. Crypto and Kush. Oh man. I can't believe I didn't buy Solana at 25. Yeah, I'm the same way. I kicked myself for that. I definitely got in late, right? Because we had it screaming in our faces, hey, buy Solana. And I think we didn't want to buy Solana at $20, and we should have bought in this accumulation zone. Here, we'll show it for the live stream. So where are we going? There we go. Sometimes I lose myself on TradingView, I tell you. Okay, so like this here was a big consolidation of Sol, right? It hits it hits that $40, but it comes down into that $25 zone, constantly going low. This is exactly what we're kind of seeing now, right? This consolidation, right? Which is why I'm picking up Sol, because it's not actively pumping right now. It also tells me that it's not going further down, so it tells me that I'm gonna have to put a little bit more in. But that being said, like, we should have definitely been buying here. This is our signal. But I think it's hard to buy here when just a couple of weeks to months ago, or weeks in this chart, just a couple of weeks ago, it was trading at $1, right? So when you see this, you're just like, wow, that's super extended. Like, I don't want any part of that. I don't know where that's gonna go, and then yeah, it kind of fucks up on you. So. Yeah, I guess it is what it is. I like the crypto and Kush idea though. That's good. Maybe we do something like one evening. I don't know how that will work on the channel. We'll see. I'll have to check up YouTube rules, because I know it's legal in the States now, right? So I guess you wouldn't get banned for it. I don't think so. Yeah, I was too busy buying $10 dots. Yeah, for sure. So Solana is definitely one that I'm going to be looking at, especially when it comes to gaming, everything else going into 2022. I think we're definitely going to see some all-time highs from Solana, and I think I've discussed it before. We can see the multi-hundred Solana pretty easily going into 2022. So I think we have a lot of bullish prospects to look at when we're talking about Sol and we're talking about the dApps and everything else. There's also like the game Star Atlas, I think it's called. There's not much on it. It looks really cool. It looks really dolled up, right? The like the site looks really cool. So So if you Google Star Atlas, you can find this. So the site looks really cool. You know, I'd love to play it, you know, and everything. Right now you can buy things in the game, but the only problem with it is there's no actual game, right? So it's all speculation. So of course a website can look dolled up and it can look really good, and I'm really excited about it if they can pull something like this off. I see it as like a crypto EVE Online in a lot of ways. So if they could pull something like this off, then fantastic. But at the same time, you don't have a working viable product. I'm not ready to invest until I see something. So there's a lot of prospects coming for Sol that make me excited, but I'm definitely not like FOMOing and buying everything. Are you 100% sure that this bull run isn't over? Curious to hear your case on extended market cycle. So I think there's a lot of reasons why, well, for me, I think it's not over. Now, the big thing that I reference a lot is how 2017 crashed compared to how we're kind of operating right now. So not really in a crash, we're more finding consolidation, more of finding a gradual upswing to go through. Now, we've kind of crossed over the 50-day moving average before, and that's what indicated basically the crash of the 2017 market. Now, we know that that doesn't have to mean anything considering the crossover that we made back in May, the drop down, the consolidation, and then the big ramp up. Now, the reason why I don't think that right now is a market peak in a way is mainly because more or less there's a big kind of push on YouTube and everything else that the market is going to end around here, when in reality the market's most likely going to extend. And I think it's going to extend because how the other markets have extended before. So if we take a look here, I'm going to pull myself to the weekly chart and we can kind of go over the whole market cycle from bottom to peak right now. Kind of discuss how each one is extending in a way, and kind of reference off of that. So bear with me here. Let me get my measuring. There we go. So if we look at each bottom of the markets, and of course this could be considered two market tops, but we're not going to consider it that way. We're going to consider it as one for this example. So here we're looking at 106 bars. That's 106 weeks on the time interval that we have selected. Then we go from this market cycle, which is the peak of 2017. So the market cycle that brought us to 2017, that goes to 151 bars, so 151 weeks. Then going further on to this one here, going from our bottom. And again, you can see kind of where we dropped after the 2017 peak. We dropped approximately 83%. Which is how much we usually drop. Obviously, we haven't dropped that much like now. Assuming that this is the market peak, right? Assuming that this is the market peak, and we've hit it, and now we're going back down, right? So that's 69,000. So if we assume that, we're looking at the first market cycle, or I guess the first market cycle's here. So let's go from the bottom to the top here. First market cycle is 46 weeks. Second market cycle is 106 weeks. Third market cycle is 151 weeks. Fourth market cycle is 152 weeks, right? So you can kind of see, okay, right now we can see there's a slight extension, but not at the same rate that it has extended previously. We can expect probably roughly a 50% to 100%, maybe less. Maybe we could go down to 30%, 20% increase. But a 1 week increase is nothing in the grand scheme of things. Now, to talk about volatility, where 2017 was compared to now, 2017 basically had the floor drop from under it, right? So it hit the 20K, had no support at the 20K, and just dropped. It retested the 50-day move or 50-week moving average. Retested the 50-week moving average, pumped up above it, right? So we could call that maybe a dead cat bounce, whatever you want to call that. And then it crashed through the 50-week, ushering in the next bear market. We're here, we have a huge difference where, yeah, right now we're testing that 50-week, and we've tested that 50-week before, right? We haven't been too parabolic above it, in a lot of ways. But for me, this, like, we have a lot of support where we are. In comparison to 2017, in comparison to that drop down, we didn't have much support going down. Here we have a lot more support, a lot more buying opportunity for Bitcoin, a lot more people buying Bitcoin, a lot more of a supply shock on exchanges, so a lot less supply of Bitcoin on exchanges. So there's a lot of things that indicate that the market isn't necessarily over. And of course, I could be wrong. Anyone can be. But I think there's a lot of evidence more proving that, hey, we're going to go in to a little bit longer of a market cycle, roughly between 175 to 200 weeks is more in line with what I think we're going to see. Ushering basically going into somewhere around March, May of 2022. So that's probably like my best explanation of why I believe that it's going to extend. So multiple different facets. One, we have a lot more support here than we did back in December 2017, and also looking at the other market cycles and how much they've gained over time, or how much they've increased in terms of time. We can probably judge pattern recognition. We could probably judge that this market cycle should be a little bit longer than it is right now. I would say that is probably the clearest way that I could probably state that. And I know sometimes it could be like a little flimsy in that regard, but at the end of the day, we have to wait to see exactly what's going to happen with some indicators. I could be completely wrong. If we break below the 50-week moving average, then I'm for sure wrong. Absolutely. So right now we're obviously testing at that 50-week moving average. So if we do break down, then I'm definitely wrong. And at that point, we're going to see some downtrends. But as long as we can bounce up above that 50-week moving average and maintain a price above it, I still see us as being bullish. So I'm not particularly worried. Now, I do think we need to make it above that 52,000 mark. And I think it's going to happen very early into 2022. So that's my thinking, at least. So let's see. Polygon is changing the limitations of Ethereum. So the the co-founder, Sandeep and Nelwal, I think is how you pronounce his last name, had mentioned. So he mentions a couple of things. One big thing is the average block time is around 2.3 seconds, as Ethereum is around 15 seconds. There's obviously a clear difference by using the Polygon network to Ethereum, and not saying that Polygon doesn't have its own faults and issues with it. Of course it does. But I think in a lot of ways, there's a lot of benefits that Polygon brings to the network for Ethereum and everything else. And it also opens up for things like gaming, for NFTs potentially. Now, Matic doesn't really have a big NFT market, but they're definitely more in lines with the gaming sphere, which is pretty interesting. So in your opinion, so the interviewer asks, in your opinion, would further Ethereum upgrades empower the network? So this is an interesting question that I get all the time about Ethereum 2.0. Is it going to make Matic obsolete and everything else? Is Cardano doomed? No. We actually have some Cardano articles up next, so we'll talk about that in a second. But I think Cardano is going to do very well. We'll go into the chart too. I'll talk about my ideology going into 2022 with Cardano. I think we have a hell of a year for Cardano. So especially with like Sunday Swap and everything coming out, and we have the stake pools that should be opening soon. So even if 2.0 is here, so Ethereum 2.0, that will not provide enough scalability. So he's basically arguing through this that with ETH 2.0 or with further upgrades like sharding, for example, so even when sharding comes, there's not going to be enough to facilitate the transactions of the people of the world. So they still have 12,080 transactions per second overall, and he says that's not good enough for the entire world. So again, really kind of going on to that matter of, hey, like multiple blockchains, one or multiple blockchains are needed, and there's still a lot of opportunity to grow for some of these blockchains, and hopefully Matic can shine and do a lot of good things in terms of increasing the transactions per second going further. Just made my espresso. There we go. Also, please discuss Harmony. Sure, we'll talk about Harmony too. Ethereum's competitor. I don't know why they wrote this competitor because it's not a competitor. But Ethereum's Polygon Matic signs a deal with a web browser, which I thought was interesting. They chose Opera. Is it Oprah or Opera? I don't know. I've never used it. I mean, I've heard things about it. In my opinion, missed opportunity to not be able to work with Brave in some way, in some fashion. But yeah, so Opera, that's a choice, I guess. So on to Cardano. This article says that Cardano, well, a specific analyst is saying that Cardano is targeting a 580% rally, which I think is huge, and I think it could happen, but we got to be careful about certain price targets in the near term. So a popular crypto trader says that Cardano could surpass previous all-time highs, which I agree with, and as soon as it passes that $3 mark, yeah, it is looking at like a $4 some odd mark, or what is that, 250 that it hit? We'll take a look at the chart. In terms of Cardano, let's see. So in terms of all-time high, yeah, so 312. Yeah, I think looking at how it's operated before, right, with Cardano, and I think, yeah, do we have trading view? Oh, okay, that's why we're on the weekly chart. Let's move down today. All right. So with Cardano, we've done a couple of things where we'll move up to a zone, we'll build up some support there, and then we'll get ready to make another move up. Now, unfortunately, when we moved up here, Bitcoin was right around the corner getting ready to drop. Now, we held pretty well with Bitcoin back in this zone. So this was back in May where everything dropped out of the floor, and there was a lot of pain in the market, but Cardano holders really didn't see much pain. Actually, a lot of Cardano holders, there were like ADA maxis throughout this whole point. They were just like, portfolio didn't go down at all. Crypto is still good. Cardano is still doing fine. Like, a lot of people were really happy with Cardano's performance here. And a lot of people are like really, really bearish right here about Cardano's performance. And that's shit that I don't understand. The reason why I say that is because, one, Cardano came from all the way down here. Two, this is like the modus operandi on Cardano. This is exactly what Cardano does. It'll pump up, it'll consolidate for a while, it'll get ready for another move, and it won't do anything for a little bit until it finally does. So I think a lot of people just get frustrated to not see Cardano doing specific things, or not see Cardano get to the price that they want it to get to. But that being said, where could Cardano go? And I still stand by my $5 to $7. Oh, hi, buddy. I still stand by my $5 to $7 Cardano or $5 to $8 Cardano by the end of the market cycle. That's what I expect that we would peak at. Now, the first big line that we have to beat is the $3.12 mark, and then at that point we can most likely move up close to that $4 mark for Cardano, consolidate there for a little bit, and hopefully make other moves up. So good morning, happy holidays, Oracle, Ken. Am I still into RSR? Yeah, I have a little bit of RSR. I don't have like a stellar amount, like why that poor choice of words, because stellar is a cryptocurrency. I don't have a huge amount of RSR. Like I wasn't dollar cost averaging for a while, but we can take a look at the chart in a moment here. I'm just gonna pull it up on the other screen. I will say that it looks like it's basically gone through like a big consolidation phase over the last little while. I think it's still a bullish project. We got a lot of inflation stuff to go over through today as well. So RSR kind of ties into that, because I remember when RSR, when I talked about RSR, it was like in the height of the Lebanese economic crisis, and now we're going through Turkey and having their crisis, and also I probably argue that the United States and Canada are going through their own currency crisis. So I'm gladly just stalking and waiting. Yeah, I'm the same way, especially with something like Cardano or another token like that. We have things like Sunday Swap coming out for Cardano too, and the stake pools. So there's a lot of things that are going to be coming in 2022. But the biggest things to keep in mind is what's happening with the rest of the world, right? Like, what is everyone else doing? And right now, Cardano's wallets have grown over 12,000 or 1,200% from last Christmas. Now, yeah, we've had a lot of hype this year. Cardano had that weird like cultish phase, right? We all remember it. Cardano went through this whole phase where if you said anything bad about Charlie Hoskinson, Charles, I guess. If you said anything bad about good old Charlie, people would jump down your throat. If you said anything bad about their precious cryptocurrency, people would jump down in your throat. Now, I'm a Cardano bull. I love ADA. I have ADA. I think ADA is great. I think ADA is going to do great things. I'm not praying to ADA. I think people need to take that in perspective. But the big thing here to identify and to understand is that there's a significant amount more users on the Cardano network. We're at the precipice where Alonzo updates are coming or have come. Now we need the smart contracts to start being built onto the system. So that's things like Sunday Swap and other dApps that are going to be coming out. So once we actually have these things built, we have the people to rush into them. And I think even with the naysayers, even with the people that are being bearish, I think once they are able to see how the dApps work, once they see the efficiency, it'll all be good. So I don't think we're gonna have too much to worry about there. My stake dot will be worth a lot more if we get $100 dot. Yeah, I completely agree. That's the one thing that gets me giddy and excited is the staking, right? So when you stake your dot, you're earning your interest on your dot. When you stake your Cardano, you're earning your interest on Cardano. So your portfolio, let's say your portfolio is 10 grand, right? Let's say that's your crypto portfolio. As long as you're earning cryptocurrency on that by staking it, so if some of it's Polkadot and it's being staked, or some of it's Ethereum, right? If you're holding Ethereum and you want to stake it, now that's a big lockup for Ethereum. But at the end of the day, over time, that price is going to increase because of general inflation, general price increase of those tokens and assets. The lower the USD goes, the higher those prices are going to go as well. Ultimately, I think the best way to describe it is one Bitcoin is always worth one Bitcoin, and you're earning your interest in Bitcoin or in cryptocurrency. So you're earning your stake rewards in cryptocurrency. So those rewards grow as that crypto grows. So it's incredibly powerful when you think about it that way. One big thing to keep in mind too about the market cycle, and I didn't really discuss this when you asked Jared, but for everyone else too, one big thing to keep in mind is what happens next for cryptocurrency is a little dependent on what happens with the US dollar. So if the US dollar spikes up at a huge amount, then most likely cryptocurrency will suffer. I am thinking that the US dollar will go down. So there we go. $1,000 dot. I don't know. So I'm more of a conservative dot predictor in terms of where it's going to go by the end of this market cycle. I probably have said, if I go back to some of my videos, I probably said roughly between $150 to $200 is a safe bet for dot. I'm not saying that $1,000 is not out of the cards, but we just need adoption at that point. Okay, so we've talked about this number of growth on Cardano. Perfect. So let's move into some of the inflation stuff. We have a couple of cool videos to go over too. We're gonna watch some videos, do some reaction, live reaction on the live stream. So I think that'll be fun. And over time, maybe we get some better videos out there, maybe more relevant videos. But Turkey is drafting a bill right now for cryptocurrency, and it's funny because I feel like Turkey is rushing to get this bill out, rushing to kind of adopt cryptocurrency because we have this big fear with the Turkish Lira right now. A lot of issues. Yeah, I'd be super happy with 150.2. I think at this point, I think 150 dot is probably like where I would expect it to go. On the low end, of course, at 200 being on the high end, but that's where I'd expect it to go. In a lot of ways, I think of this issue right now. What's happening is Turkey's rushing to kind of adopt some cryptocurrency like legislation. They just slapped, I think I have the article here, they slapped a $750,000 fine on Binance. And I think this is literally just a pay us let's get over what problems we have with your legislate or your issues with following our legislation, and then follow the law, and let's move past this, right? They don't want to muddy the waters with any sort of lawsuits or anything like the SEC is doing with Ripple or anything like that. They want to just cut in, get out, and move on with their lives and kind of adopt Bitcoin, because everyone's rushing to buy USD from the Turkish Lira. The black market is crazy in terms of Turkey. I won't talk too much about that, because I think there's some talk about that in the video that we're going to show. But there's a lot of rush to move out of their native currency, trying to get into harder assets, United States dollars and cryptocurrencies. And this is really where cryptocurrency shines. When we talk about what are the use cases for cryptocurrency, this is actually the use case. We have a dying economy with Turkey. We have the dying economy with Lebanon. We have the dying economy with Venezuela. Now, the interesting parts about the dying economy in Turkey, and this is the same sentiment in Lebanon or in Venezuela, is the Turkish stock market has boomed over the last couple of years, boomed since basically 2020. So we have that, going in, right? December is the first sign of COVID. Going into January 14th of 2020, we have that big market crash for March, and then we just pumped. We pumped super hard. At that point, Turkey was doing a lot of social assistance, a lot of trying to boost the economy in the COVID era, and eventually we have hyperinflation. We now have this increased inflation on the Turkish lira. How's it going, Jeff? Merry Christmas, Oz. No worries. I expect a lot of people are hanging out with their families, so totally okay. So the Turkish lira obviously crashed, or is crashing right now actively, but we can clearly see where the price went for the stock market. Now, the reason why this is important is the Venezuelan stock market did the exact same thing, where it pumped super hard and then crashed very violently, basically a 99% crash with the Venezuelan stock market. So dropped a huge amount. And when we look at this, we're pretty reminiscent, and we're kind of in the midst of it. We're just in the start of this Turkish lira event, this currency crisis that's happening in Turkey. So I think there's a lot to unpack with what's going on here. But I also think there's a lot to kind of look at in terms of what's happening in our own backyard. Now, I'll use my backyard as an example first, and then we'll talk about U.S. inflation. So since January of 2021, and even if we go out further, so since January of 2021, we see an incredible increase to inflation, going up to rates of 4.7 right now in Canada. So pretty huge. Our CPIs are also fairly high. So the consumer price index is going higher and higher over the last year. And again, if we look at the uptrend, we can clearly see how much more the uptrend is up over the 5-year. And again, even over the 10-year, it's even more dramatic. So it's a huge amount of inflation going through. So this, in my opinion, should really scare anybody. Going into the US, right? Because a lot of my viewers are from Canada. Also, a lot of my viewers are from the United States. And I think it's just more exciting to talk about the US economy because it's the largest economy out there. So with this one, obviously we can see as much of a dramatic increase. We kind of saw a leveling off in the summer months, which I guess that could be correlated with the turning point of the pandemic, and then obviously we're kind of going into the winter months, and that's kind of exacerbated some of the case numbers, which is caused the money printing and everything else to go up. And you can kind of see that increase over the 5-year looks way more dramatic, and then over the 10-year, absolutely dramatic. This should scare you. This should actually scare you, right? Over the last 25 years, we haven't seen an increase like this in ever, right? Last 25 years. If we look at Max, I'm sure we have something that resembles that of some kind. Yeah, back in the 70s, going into the 80s. But nothing in the grand scheme of things, in the last 30 years. So a pretty dramatic spike. And I get that we have a global crisis. I understand that there's a pandemic happening, but I'd be very careful about treading where we're going to tread here. At the end of the day, key U.S. inflation gauges the sharpest rise since nearly 40 years. Again, that we just saw. So this is probably the scariest time to be alive. The most fearful time in the economy, definitely. But this should just go to show the absolute need for cryptocurrency, right? This is why we need crypto. This is why we need an immutable, scarce money supply, monetary policy, being Bitcoin, being whatever cryptocurrency falls into that framework, whether it be a CBDC or whatever. We do need blockchain, right? At this point, more so than ever, the world definitely needs blockchain technology. So let's switch off. I just want to start playing this video here. So the Turkish Lira is crashing. This is by a YouTuber called Upton. He did a lot of cool videos on the Lebanese dollar, Lebanese Big Macs being like $17. So I want to play this, and we're gonna talk about this here. So let me just go ahead and play, and what I'm just going to do is, while the video is playing, I'm just going to mute my microphone, but I'll pause it and we'll do some commentary. We'll make it transformative, so we're not just ripping this guy's content. But I think overall very well done in terms of how he articulates everything, and it really gives a good perspective of what's happening in other areas of the world. So it kind of shows us what to watch for here, and I think there's a lot to watch for.
This Big Mac meal here in Turkey costs 33 Turkish Lira. That's about $3.41 at today's exchange rate. Pretty reasonable for McDonald's, but consider this. If
you guys should be able to hear that. So just mention in the comments, make sure to let me know if something's not sounding right.
you're earning minimum wage here, this meal is going to cost you the equivalent of working more than 3 hours.
But that's just McDonald's. What about other things like everyday items? How many hours of work does it take to afford those?
1 hour, an hour and a half, 2 hours, 2.5.
Can you imagine just working like 2.5 hours, busting your ass for like a Starbucks mocha latte frappuccino, whatever bullshit that this is? Like 2.5 hours, right? Just think about that. Just imagine like how much it would cost to like feed your kids or something, right? You can't even buy friggin' coffee. That being said, like buying a Starbucks latte is probably the worst things that you can do. But you know, at the end of the day, 2.5 hours for it. That's insane.
1.5 hours, 3 hours, 5 hours, 1 day, 1 day and a half, 1 week, 3 weeks, 2 months.
1 day and a half just to put diapers on your child. Crazy.
9 months. And if you want to be able to afford this car, working minimum wage here, that will take you 31 years.
It's actually...
See, here I was thinking that the housing market is like super fucked up in Canada and I'm never going to be able to buy a house or afford a house. And like, I mean, like I have the down payment, but if I put in the down payment right now, I'm paying more than my rental costs. I'm losing much more money. I have low, what is it? I have a lower opportunity cost to invest my money if I go into a house. And with these housing prices right now, like why on earth would I do that? But imagine in a world, and I can kind of see it in Canada, right? Because my even my lease, my car has gone up in price. It's roughly at I'd probably say $10,000 more than what the buyout should be, what I had the buyout at, because obviously I got the lease before COVID. So the prices have gone up dramatically. But I can only imagine, like being in a situation, especially as a young person, being in a situation where you're looking like ahead and you see absolutely no opportunity for you to get like a car or a house or be able to appropriately feed yourself, let alone your children. Crazy.
Getting worse and worse.
Turkey's currency is falling drastically.
The buying power is going down also. It's decreasing.
Inflation is soaring.
Dollar currency is getting higher.
All this means daily life is becoming harder and harder.
My money doesn't have any value.
And its people, especially young generation, are frustrated.
It's so hard to be a young people.
This is literally the worst time to be a young person in Turkey.
It's really hard to live here as a young person.
This is a story about so much more than McDonald's or even economics. It's about how people are struggling to make ends meet as their buying power falls and its young generation dreams.
See, I think this is the big thing that people don't really like put into perspective a lot, is how the economy is impacting generations that move ahead of you, right? A lot of people are always so self-absorbed about what's happening for themselves, what's happening for their family, or them directly, what's happening maybe for their kids, sure, but they don't look at what's going to happen generations past. And even then, a lot of people have blinders. I remember even my dad saying that this generation does not have it nearly as bad as how his generation had it. I'd say technologically, sure. I mean, like, we have the internet, where we're a lot more informationally adapt to what they were back in the day. But at the end of the day, the cost of our labor is dramatically less, and the power of our money is also dramatically less than it was back then. I mean, my dad worked at a grocery store, was able to feed 4 kids, was able to have 2 cars. My mom worked part-time. My dad worked a lot, sure. He worked 2 jobs at a lot of points throughout his life. But at the end of the day, he was able to feed all of us and afford a house. I can't say that that's possible. Do I watch Succession? I don't think I've ever heard of that. Is that a TV show? Oh, it's an HBO series. Oh, I'd probably like it. Who's in it? Is there anyone that I actually know that's in it? I'm also terrible with names, so if there's a name in here that I don't recognize, it's gonna suck, because I'm much better at faces. But it's HBO, so I mean, like, it's got to be good, to be honest. Most HBO stuff is pretty on point that I noticed. Like Westworld, obviously Game of Thrones, just small. I mean, we all know about Game of Thrones. Must watch. Okay, Ali's saying must watch. All right, there we go. That's my brother in chat telling me that I absolutely should watch it. Okay, Succession is on the list. I'll absolutely throw that on. I'll probably throw it on after this. 100%. It's about billionaires. Okay, dope. I think I'm into it. I'm into it. We're going for it.
Of a life abroad.
Money is worthless, and life in Turkey is worthless. It's so hard to live in Turkey, actually.
That's Batakan. He was working at a jewelry store when I met him just 6 months ago. He was earning $15 per day.
Last year, I earned money $20 for a day, but this year, $15.
But today, he's now earning less than $9 a day.
So many young people has no money. They can't drink something. They can't eat something, get outside. It's so hard for them.
6 years ago, if you had 30
Sorry, I have it on double speed. I don't know if that pisses people off. Let me turn. I totally forgot it on double speed, to be honest. So I'll turn it down so it's not so bad. I watch a lot of things in double speed just to save time. It just makes more sense. You can kind of hear exactly what they're saying, but we'll play it in normal speed. Best show. That's another solid show. Billions. Okay, yeah. I've heard of that one. This show has great ratings. Succession has 8.1 on IMDb. This is absolutely a watch. This is something that I'm definitely watching this tonight. Is it like fully done though? Oh yeah, it's 3 seasons. Oh my god. Oh, I have some binging to do. Great, amazing. I'm super excited.
Turkish Lira, you could exchange that for $10. But now, if you wanted $10, you would need to fork over 100 Turkish Lira for the same amount.
The currency has plunged more than 30% this year. But even before this year, things were not good.
Since 2010 or so, the currency's just gone upwards, and I mean, it just keeps on going upwards. So
it happened like a few years ago, where one day it just got to 8, I think, not even 10, but 8. And that day, the politicians were speaking about something, so that's why it got that high.
President Erdogan and the Turkish government, I have a message. Release Pastor Andrew Brunson now, or...
What do you mean by that? Succession is that makes me super excited, Jared. What do you mean by that? Succession is after the Rupert Murdoch media conglomerate. Like, do you mean like that's the plot point? I'm on episode 7 of season 3. Yeah. Like, what is it about? Like the like Fox organization or something, or is it just like or is that yeah, I don't know. I don't, if it spoils anything, don't tell me, okay? I would rather watch it, whatever it is. But
be prepared to face the consequences.
She's referring to a moment when the Turkish lira dropped the most it had in nearly 20.
Yeah, I think it's important. Like this, the reason why I'm showing this video is the exact issue that we're going to have, right? So people don't know how bad inflation is going to be. This is legitimately what you're faced with, like when it's too late, when it's far too late. These aren't warning signs. These are the signs that the bullet's already been put through the head. Like the economy's done. There's no recovering for the Turkish lira. Not in this way. It's about the family that is comparable to the Murdochs. Okay, cool. Media conglomerate family fights for control. Just watch it. It's okay. Absolutely. I'm watching it. We'll next live stream. So I'm live. Next time we're live, well, you guys see it. It is Monday. So we're live Monday, 4:30 to 7. We'll talk about it a little bit but most likely Saturday. If we do another live stream too, where we take part in some 420 activities, we'll figure out how that works, whether it be on a separate channel or what. We'll maybe talk about that a little bit more. It's better to have money invested, rather than cash. I completely agree with you. And like, I'd also probably say that a lot of people should also be careful about US investments, that being like things like mutual funds. They're really normally safe shit that people would go into, the shit that, old people like buy to retire on, right? The mutual funds, safe crap, because it's US equity, and U.S. money packages. They don't give that much percentage increase, including the rate of inflation. So just the rate of inflation alone, it wouldn't even beat that out. So that alone is not even worth it. But now is the time to be invested in good equities, good solid equities that can like stand a huge thrashing of the economy. In my opinion, that's things like Apple, that's things like Nvidia, things like the big banks. Some of the banks, I'd probably say, holding those in equities, but also cryptocurrency and precious metals. This is why we need cryptocurrency, because of what's happening in Turkey and everything else in the rest of the world.
20 years because of tension between President Trump and Turkey's president.
Turkish prison to the White House in 24 hours. That's not bad.
I really can't forget that day because at the time the dollar just increased a lot, and my dad told me that we can't afford your college tuition anymore.
Since then, the currency began falling as investors globally questioned the country's stability. As the Turkish lira becomes weaker and weaker, more people.
I'll check the rules on that, Jared, because if that's true, I'd be totally down to have like some gaming sessions, right? Log on for a couple hours over the weekend or something. Do some gaming live streams, to not like actually game and like be good at it. I'm a very shit gamer, but casually game, smoke some weed, chill out on Twitch. I'll look into that. If the rules abide, I'm happy to have that part of everything on Twitch, and then we can continue doing the crypto stuff here on YouTube. I like that. The new season has a new character based on Vitalik. I love it.
People are looking to buy homegrown products instead of importing from other countries. That's just one way to keep prices stable. And homegrown bananas are just one example.
So even though I paid twice as much for these bananas, they're actually clearly not as fresh because they were imported from Costa Rica. But I am curious to see which one tastes better, the ones that are from Turkey or the ones that are imported. I honestly didn't think that Turkey had the climate to even grow bananas, so the fact that they're selling homegrown bananas is quite interesting. Let's give it a try. This definitely tastes different, but I guess some people, if they can afford it, are willing to pay for the imported bananas.
I think the one good part about what's going to happen with inflation is it's going to make a lot of people more reliant on the community, right? Way more reliant on how everyone else helps each other, what everyone else is trading back and forth with, really going back to the knowing your neighbor kind of feel that we had. I remember growing up and, constantly being sent to my next door neighbors to go borrow like sugar or something. There was way more of a community around the people that you lived around, right? Not even just the people that you were families with. I think having inflation, it's obviously a net bad. But the one positive is that it at least brings people together in terms of, more homegrown operations, more things internally within the country, bringing things more kind of homegrown in a way. I think is one of the few benefits to a very terrible situation.
Amidst the currency crisis, inflation here is surging, hitting 20%, which makes everyday.
See, I say this a lot, Jared. I firmly believe, and this is one thing. If ever you had a doubt, in cryptocurrency, right? The biggest thing to understand is to understand where our current economic climate is, where we're going to be heading in the next 10 years, because we're not heading to a good place. Now, on that front, we're all going to be rich, right? I'm going to say that very frankly. All of you invested in cryptocurrency, sitting in the chat right now, even if you hold like a little bit of cryptocurrency, we're all going to be fairly wealthy. We're all going to be doing very well. That is going to be on the backs of billions of people that don't do well. That is going to be on the backs of a dying economy, right? So sometimes it's good to keep that in perspective, that even though you're wealthy, it's going to be because a lot of other people are going to lose everything. And it's not because cryptocurrency is inherently bad. It's because the system, the monetary system, is inherently flawed and it's stealing money away from them. And the only safe haven is assets like cryptocurrency, is assets like good equities, is assets like gold, potentially some real estate, depending on where you are. So, but I probably say the grand amount of people that aren't invested, being the normal people, regular human beings, those people are the ones that are going to suffer, which is the worst part. Big pump coming, Haas. What token do I have my eyes on? I mean, like, I'd probably say there's a lot of tokens that I have my eyes on. I'm not focused too much on low caps right now, but I still hold a lot of my low caps. But I'd probably say right now I'm just building my Sol position. I still hold a lot of my Cardano, expecting that to go higher. But I think there's going to be a lot of things like Moonbeam. We have the Glimmer token that's coming out. We have Akala coming out. A lot of the substrate stuff that's coming. The Sunday swap for Cardano. We have VeChain that's definitely going to do well in the next year. I'm super excited where VeChain is going to go. And then also we have a lot of moving through of blockchain games. So we have Sand, the Metaverse, we have the Mana token, Engine. There's a lot, man. There's a lot kind of going up. But I'd probably say right now my focus is on building up my Metaverse portfolio. So that's things like Sand, Engine, all the like gaming stuff, and NFT stuff, and then kind of still building my Sol position with my mining profits. So I passively mine on my computer. And I send that profit right into a Sol address and start providing liquidity there. I still have like a lot of other tokens, like we're talking about PSwap and everything else. So VeChain absolutely looks like a buy. VeChain absolutely looks like a buy. I mean, like VeChain under 10 cents is a great deal, let alone. And I get it because like I bought VeChain super low, but at the same time, I probably say anytime VeChain is around this zone, and I probably say this zone because of here. This line of support, we have a lot of support here, and of course we're below, but this zone is probably our buying zone for VeChain, or our accumulation zone, and we're not going to be down here for much longer. I think we're absolutely going to go higher, so definitely gotta be careful of that. Yeah, I need to get a bag of Engine. Yeah, it's and slow and steady, right? Dollar cost average. Don't just drop everything in and lose your shirt on it, right? Because it could absolutely go lower. But dollar cost average and kind of bring that in. When you're talking about, or when you're done talking about inflation, it would be interesting to know if you have heard of the SOS token airdrop. I actually don't think I've heard of the SOS token airdrop. There's a lot of tokens right now. A lot of airdrops, I should say. Oh no. So I'm not, but we'll have to talk about this. So I'll move this on the screen here. We'll look it up really quick, but I'll have to look into this and talk about it more. I really want to inch out more into the NFT space. Airdropping 50% of the SOS token. Oh, I did hear about this. If you used OpenSea, right? If you've traded on OpenSea, you're gonna get SOS token. I had Sneaky on Twitter. So one of my viewers DM'd me about this. I think last night. I just haven't taken a look at it. So incredible. Yeah, I want to inch out into more of this, but that's yeah, this is gonna be big. This is gonna be big news, especially coming from OpenSea. So I don't know enough to kind of talk intelligently about it, but should do very well in terms of like the OpenSea, like how much they actually have in the market. They should do very, very well.
Prices a lot more expensive.
Remember earlier in the grocery store? Imagine working 2 weeks of your life just to be able to afford this.
The thing is that the basic things such as cheese, bread, maybe is actually got twice of the price of it. The basic things which you can roll on your life are got higher. Transportation prices are getting higher. For the people who live just everyday life, they're running their life more.
Wonder means nothing in Turkey now. But past times, it has a lot meaning. Like you can buy some stuff with 1 lira, but now it's nothing.
They can't buy anything. They can't buy any of the houses. You know, the rent prices, they are also getting higher and higher. It was 2,000 Turkish lira per month. This year it was 4 or 4.5.
So why exactly is all this happening? Turkey's economy is actually growing by a whopping 20% at one point.
So this is the thing, right? Remember back when we showed the chart here? This is the fallacy that Donald Trump got into about the U.S. economy, saying that the stock market is doing well, so the economy is doing well, regardless of what your political views are. We try to keep that away from the channel. But ultimately, he would reference that the stock market is doing very well. The economy is doing very well. This is exactly what they're talking about, right? The Turkish economy is doing very well in terms of the equities, in terms of everything else. But the reality is the value of their dollar is going down, which means everything's going up in terms of the price. And that's exactly what we see in the US economy or the global economy right now, is that everything is, the value of the money is going down because there's more money being printed, but stocks and equities continue going up because a lot of that money is being funded into stocks and equities. So it's important to keep that in mind as well.
Point this year, making it the biggest growth compared to any other major country except for China. This happened especially as many of its COVID restrictions were lifted.
And again, China being like a huge friggin' player in this space in terms of like the global economies and everything, they're definitely gaining a lot of traction. So yeah.
But if the economy is growing, then what exactly is the problem?
Well, you can call that partially, as some economists say, an exchange rate illusion. In terms of GDP per capita, Turkey has dropped 40% over the past 8 years. During COVID, its government was helping a lot of businesses and citizens.
So this is the biggest thing too. I watched another video talking about the Turkish exchange rate, like literally trying to find like how to exchange US dollars into Turkish dollars, because you can't use your credit card there, because if you use your credit card, they're going to like charge you triple to quadruple what the price is of the item in credit card fees. Like it's just absolutely insane. So now there's a black market with currencies. So people are trying to trade off other currencies outside of the Turkish lira and get out of the Turkish lira. So it's insane for the people living there, but it's also insane for people going there and investing. So, or visiting, I should say, because Istanbul and Turkey itself, it's a huge tourist spot. This isn't a small country, right? People think about Turkey and maybe they're thinking about, you know, their lives in the US or their lives in Canada. And they're so detached from things that are happening in other parts of the world and expecting, oh, Turkey's probably this small outfit, right? Turkey is one of the biggest countries, one of the biggest economies out there. I mean, they've been around like this is the Ottoman Empire. This is like Turkey is huge. So to look at, you know, Turkey now and to look at the failing state that Turkey is beginning to be, it should kind of ring some alarm bells in your head that, hey, something's happening, and whatever's happening here is global. And this is the biggest thing about inflation and what's happening with COVID, because COVID has definitely exacerbated all of this with the rampant money printing, the IMF and all these central banks saying print more money, don't worry. Well, when it comes that, you know, the money printing is too high and it's time to increase interest rates to bring back the economy, nobody can pay for it. And then we see a rampant inflation of the money. And at that point, it's game over. You can't reverse it once the inflation's already there. Once it's already set in, there's no reversing that inflation. The trust is gone.
Pumping a lot more money into the economy. This is partially why its currency is weakening and inflation is soaring.
Turkey has a big economy. It's the 20th largest economy in the world. But when you divide that by its massive population size, it becomes number 91.
See, usually to slow down inflation, economists say you should raise interest rates, to keep the amount of money limited. But despite what's happening, Turkey's central bank's most recent move was to cut interest rates, hoping to encourage investment.
I think it's because of the politics right now. Everybody's just thinking.
And again, cut interest rates to promote investments, right? That healthy stock market. What happened in the US during the start of the pandemic? Cutting interest rates. Money goes into the stock market. It incentivizes investments.
Thinking about money nowadays, but if it changes, it has to be like the politics should change, and after that money would change, and after that everybody will get better, I think.
Turkey's president has fired the head of its central bank multiple times in just a few years. There have been 4 governors now, raising concern about any sustainable plan.
Surely because of the decisions of the government. I'm not talking about the country, I'm talking about the specifically government. People who runs the country, who rule the country, are deciding their decisions upon their daily decision.
All these money issues are impacting jobs.
My friends who's interior architects, and now they're working at cafes, and one of them asked me for a job from my dad.
Job owners are paying little monies for the students, because like for an hour, I know some guys, they earn 9 or 10 Turkish Lira. Wow. It's actually nothing.
At the time of making this video, that's equal to less than $10 a day.
And keep in mind too, right, the time of making this video was uploaded November 24. If you've been looking at the news, like all this Turkey stuff that we've been pulling up here, right, all of this about the Turkey bill and everything that's happening with cryptocurrency, all of this is super recent. Like this is yesterday, right? Or today and yesterday. This is insanity. And considering that this is only a month ago and it's gotten dramatically worse, it's crazy. I just bought a little vet. Good for you, man. I mean, like, how can you not at these prices, right? Like, how can you not buy some vet below 10 cents? Yeah, this is the buying zone. This is absolutely the buying zone for VeChain. Whether or not it's going to be bearish for the next little while, who the fuck cares, right? This is a supply chain solution, especially now, right? Especially we're talking now, having a supply chain tracker, something that tracks supply chains, and we can look at the data, enhance those supply chains. Now, moving into the new world, while we're restructuring everything, while we're in the height of hyperinflation and the height of having shit like the Suez Canal being blocked and all this crap, it's crazy. I think VeChain is going to be huge. I think people are sleeping on VeChain for sure. Having a nice bag is definitely going to be worth it.
Let's say like I wanted to have my own place by now, but there's no way that I can afford it now.
Mostly students can't go out. Mostly young people stay at home and doing some jobs or works, but they can't go out.
I mean, all of my friends and I are just like looking for jobs that pay in dollar, because that's the only way to just survive here.
Owning a car here has become near impossible as Turkey's government imposes high taxes on importing cars. In fact, these taxes make Turkey one of the most expensive places to own a car.
You can't buy a car anymore, yeah. The new cars are starting from 300,000 Turkish Lira. It's so much money, yeah. It's impossible to buy a car.
And again, even like in the US and in Canada, right, car prices are huge, and it's mainly because of the prices of parts. How much VeChain is enough? That's brother. There's no answer to that question. There is no answer to that question. It's never enough. Okay. I mean, there is an answer, right? There's too much, but you won't know the too much until you're filthy rich, and then at that point, just be a very, very nice philanthropist. Be very generous with your wealth. But no VeChain is enough, buddy.
Things are similar for Apple products, where Turkey has imposed a nearly 30% tax on Apple.
30% tax on Apple products. Are you fucking kidding me? I already don't like Apple, like from the get-go. I mean, like I buy Apple stock because God, like, you know, they love their cult. But I mean, like, holy 30% on Apple products. Imagine going in to buy an iPhone and you're charged 30% on that shit.
Products.
The Apple is crazy in Turkey because like I got this phone from New York about like 8,000 lira, but if I happen to get this phone in Turkey, it will cost me about like 16,000 lira.
So what's next for Turkey?
I want to go abroad, but my money getting lower. My savings are getting lower and lower. And actually, I don't know what can I do.
I might think to go to US again because everything's so expensive and.
See, and this is what ultimately happens, right? We see people rushing into economies in other countries, right, after their country collapses, and moving into more stable countries, right? Thinking that a country where their currency is the global money, what's the word? God damn it. The globally traded currency, I can't think of the word. The USD is used all over the world, is what I'm trying to say. It's there's a word for it. Jeez, I can't believe I'm spacing on this right now. Either way, people are going to move to the US currency because they think it's a global reserve. That's it, global reserve currency, because they think there's safety in the global reserve currency. When the reality is, in 2021, there is no safety. There is no safety with the USD, and there's no safety with any currency other than physical metals and cryptocurrencies right now. So these people moving to, say, the US are probably looking for a good prospect in the US. I don't think they're going to find like what they think they're going to find. I think famously, and even, you know, good old DT said it himself, the American dream is dead. And I think that's what people are going to find, at least in this economy, in today's age. You're not going to go to, and like, I shouldn't say this because of course your living conditions are going to be better in America than say Turkey with the lira right now. You're absolutely going to be able to do better because you can at least buy diapers, but it's not going to be like a huge amount better. It's not going to be like you're flourishing. You're still going to be struggling like everyone else, right? Life is life. That's just what it is. It's not going to be that safe haven that maybe, you know, coming to America or Canada was maybe 20, 30 years ago, right? Like when my parents came over, actually, they didn't come over. My grandparents came over. When my grandparents came over, they objectively were set out for a much better life than they would have had in Lebanon. And I would argue that they probably had a great life here compared to what they had in Lebanon. And, you know, who knows? So they might have been perfectly happy in Lebanon. But at the end of the day, it changed the course of their children, right? And their grandchildren. And ultimately, here I am live streaming about cryptocurrency. Whereas otherwise I'd be, you know, in KR in Lebanon working on a farm, or maybe if I'm lucky, you know, traveling to Beirut and working in Beirut or something. You know, it dramatically changed the prospects of the life of their children. My dad did fairly well, you know, was able to feed 4 kids, you know, did okay in the economy that he was given. A much better opportunity than I'd say that my grandparents had, I'd probably say. Haas about to save the economy. You know, I think the economy is too fucked to be saved, personally.
When you just, even we earn dollars and euros, it doesn't mean anything. Like you spend so much money for everything.
Our school is right there and it's called the German school. So we are going to Germany, hopefully, getting out of our country to study in Germany. I think I'm going to live my life in Germany.
Germany is probably one of the best economies in the world. And a lot of that is because of the deficit organization, right? There's a way, like for me, I'd probably say, and like a big spoiler alert for people that didn't know, I'm probably a little bit more on the left leaning side of the politics. That being said, I try not to bring it too much on the channel. But I would say there is a way to appropriately do social assistance programs without running into a deficit. And I think Germany is one of the biggest examples of that. Their economy is fairly strong. And if you look at where the German economy came from, right back World War I and World War II, being ravaged by both war treaties, peace treaties, really kind of hurting the general economy. Now, I'm not talking about the wars or the outcomes of the wars at all. I'm more talking about the economic downturn that was taken. So famously, German marks had dropped, I think, after World War One, the price, I believe, and as well that transitioned to a very poor economy into end of World War II. I could have that around. It could be the other way around. Either way, looking at where the German economy is now, considering where it came from, is pretty impressive. Merry Christmas, Gary. How's it going, buddy? Hope everything's well with you and the family. Hope everyone's enjoying their Christmas, their holidays. So, yeah, really hope everyone's doing well. Obviously, here we are, just nerds talking about crypto, but I get a lot of people are just kind of cycling in, saying hi, and going on to their Christmas celebration. So really hope you enjoy your day, and hope you're having dinner and getting all big and gross for Christmas. So there we go.
I want that the government will be changed, but I'm not sure about that still.
They don't know how to pull Gen Z into their side, so I think they will be going off in 2023.
A lot of times as we talk, you're laughing.
And that's where we're going, right? We're talking about Gen Z. We're talking about the next generation of people. We're talking about how these people are going to be able to kind of live going into the new economy, the new economic world. Because I would probably say, as hard as we've had it in our lives in terms of the economy and everything, going through the 2008 financial crisis, which Canada wasn't really hit that hard as much as the United States. But going through some downtimes here, it really puts in perspective what we're looking at for future generations, what they're going to have to put up with. And I don't think it's going to be pretty, personally. No, I appreciate that, man. I appreciate you stopping by and saying hi and stopping in on Christmas. It's been, yeah. So overall, I think there's a lot to be said about general inflation in the economy. One big thing to kind of understand is the inflation that we see in the day-to-day, right? We're talking about like grocery stores, we're talking about like things that we buy on a daily, and this is why cryptocurrency is so important, right? Actually, if you guys don't already have it, so there's on ShakePay, there is let's see here, you can sign up for the card. Now, I don't know what the lineup is yet of the card, but there's a 2% right now cash bonus or cashback bonus when you spend on ShakePay. So all you have to do is e-transfer money into your ShakePay account, use your ShakePay. I actually have it linked directly to my phone, so I just tap my phone on the payment thingy when you go to the store and you buy the things. Just tap my phone and I get cash back in Bitcoin. So now I just send my money into my ShakePay, exclusively use ShakePay to buy things like groceries. I don't use my credit cards with cash back or anything, just strictly onto my ShakePay to kind of earn that Bitcoin, right? Stack them sats. That's the ultimate goal, is to get more Satoshis, more Bitcoin. And the reason why is because of the hyperinflation that we're talking about. So even though Bitcoin right now is trading below them, we started the stream. So of course we started at 50,800, sitting at 50,300. Even though it's dropped a slight amount, or even if it drops down to 42,000, even if it drops down to 30,000, I'm still not panicked, because it is still a much better asset than fiat currencies right now, right? Again, going back to what's happened in Lebanon, what's happened in Venezuela, what's happening right now in Turkey, All of these big economies are collapsing internally because of the rampant money printing. The safe haven truly is cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency, some safe equities like Nvidia, like some of the EV stocks. There's a lot of good plays right now, a lot of good safe things to put your money into. Gold, I have a little bit of physical gold. I like the physical gold aspect. I won't buy paper gold or paper silver. And then cryptocurrency. 90% of my portfolio is cryptocurrency, and I sleep absolutely fine like that. Absolutely fine. I'd probably say the bulk of my equities and stocks, part of it is part of my employment package with the company that I work with. So there I have a stock package that comes to me. So I have a good amount of equities in the financial sector in Canada there. And then on top of that, I have a lot of my tech stocks. I heavily invest in FANG, so Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, Google, and that kind of style. But I'll dabble a little bit into other areas. Like I have obviously Tesla, I have Nvidia. I buy a little bit more in EV now. I think there's some like Chinese EV companies that I'm looking into investing too. Trying to spread it out because you don't want to just hold Tesla. You want to spread the bag out and hold a multiple amount of EV tech companies, because EV is the future, right? So when we look at things like the dying economy and then you look at safe haven investments, there's a lot of them. You just need to look for them, right? You need to know what you're finding, and having a scarce asset like Bitcoin is definitely going to help there. Short Facebook. You know what? I haven't been buying Facebook for a while. And I'm not sure about I don't know what's going to happen. I'm hugely bullish on Twitter, but I don't know what's going to happen because Facebook is pushing hard on this metaverse thing. And there's a lot of people that like Facebook, and Facebook fucking sucks. I would be super happy. I'm gonna be very, very honest right now. I'd be super happy to see Facebook go belly under tomorrow. I'd be absolutely ecstatic about it. I don't use Facebook at all. I don't like it. I mean, I have it. I have Facebook. I have a Facebook. I rarely log into Facebook. I think I only actually have Facebook is so I can remember people's birthdays and so I can message some people that only like to message on Facebook. It's fairly annoying. I hate the platform. I hate social media in general. In terms of like social media outside of things like YouTube and Twitter, like if we're talking about like personal, like Instagrams or personal stuff that you just get like so absorbed in and it's all your life, then I don't like it. It's like TikTok. There's a lot of addiction issues with TikTok and everything else. A lot of addiction issues with Facebook. A lot of misinformation coming through a lot of these social media platforms that are totally unaccounted for. In what I mean by unaccounted for is like you're not going to see Mark Zuckerberg take fault for shit that's happening on the Facebook platform, right? So it'd be interesting to see where they go. I think, in my opinion, there's just too much money there that Mark Zuckerberg's not going to let that company die. That being said, I agree with your sentiment. Fuck Facebook, and I'm all down with Jack Dorsey and Twitter. Actually, I think Dorsey stepped down from Twitter, if I'm right, which is fine. I think at some point you got to let your company go in a lot of ways. Some points your company is like too big that even you can't kind of help. But yeah, it's not. Yeah, they're not accountable at all. Like, did you see? There's a Vice video. Oh Jesus. We'll maybe watch this on live stream one day. YouTube. There's this video about a Facebook moderator. If you haven't seen this, so Facebook is so absolutely fucking insane. Okay, here it is. So here it is. It's the horrors of being a Facebook moderator. Okay, released 5 months ago. We're not gonna play it, but like the shit that this guy sees.
What that means.
Like they're literally masking him up. He doesn't want his face to be seen or anything. He doesn't want Facebook to know who he is. Which is fucking crazy, like in the first place. But the shit that this guy sees, like dead bodies, illegal porn, like just crazy shit that's being posted onto Facebook. Like, holy crap, insane. So I'm not gonna play it. There's like a huge trigger warning for anyone that deals with any like suicidal ideologies or anything like that. If you're looking into that, maybe you shouldn't watch it. But Jesus, like this is insane. This is insane. So, well, it's censorship in terms of playing up their narrative, right? That's all Facebook does, is just play up their narrative specifically, and kind of censors out the truth. So there's a lot of issues there with Facebook. I disagree with a lot of social media platforms having as much power as they do, and I've been a pretty big advocate of that since the Cambridge Analytica scandal that was happening with Facebook back in the day. So obviously there's a lot to unpack there, but incredible video if you haven't seen it. Fucking insane, the kind of shit that's being posted on Facebook, the kind of like wahoo level garbage. But also, like, it's the algorithm too. The algorithm promotes certain shit to your feed to kind of entice a reaction and get you super reactionary about shit that really doesn't matter. We'll go through this 3-minute video of the same guy actually doing a video in the United States about inflation. This actually came out 17 hours ago, came out last night. We're gonna take a look at this because I think this sheds a lot of insight on what's happening in the US. I mean, more Twitter is, and I think that's gonna happen with any corporate entity, right? I think when the idea of shareholders are in prospect, that's when censorship is going to creep in, ultimately. So, well, I agree with like some hateful rhetoric being like not platformed on certain platforms. I agree with you that there's a lot more to what the censorship is happening in terms of social media that we got to be careful about. But let's watch this. This is much less, is 3 minutes and 21 seconds. So we're not gonna watch a huge video, but we'll pause it a little bit. But
your cereal box is getting smaller, but you're paying the same price. Your cereal box is getting smaller, but you're paying the same price. This is also happening to your butter, shampoo, even toilet paper.
Prices surging more than they have in 30 years. Inflation rates not seen in nearly 40 years.
General Mills, the
and again, that's 6.8. That's United States numbers, okay? That's in good old USA. You know what I mean?
Massive cereal company is reducing family size from 19.3 ounces to 18.2 ounces. There's even a term for this. It's called downsizing or shrinkflation. And some say it's the nasty cousin of inflation.
Hey, cousin!
So as everyday items become more expensive, companies are trying to find sneaky ways to keep profits high. So if your pasta sauce goes from $4 to $5, of course, you'll notice. But if the price stays the same and the bottle just gets 10 or 20% smaller, chances are we won't even notice. And this has been happening a lot lately. Costco toilet paper sells for about $20.
A big thing to also, like if you're going to the store, just to gauge it for yourself, take a look at bricks of cheese and look at the gram on the bricks of cheese and then the price, and come back in a couple of months and look at the grams and look at the price. I guarantee you the price will be the same, but that cheese will be shaved off, right? Little by little. I used to work at a grocery store back in early 2000s, and that's exactly what happened. The bricks of cheese just got smaller and smaller and smaller until now they're super tiny.
And it used to be 30 rolls with 425 sheets per roll. Now it's still $20, it's still 30 rolls, but it's only 380 sheets per roll. It's been happening with the Ziploc bags, chips, and my favorite one to assess, cereal. But here's where it gets even more interesting. So when I went to the grocery store, I thought I was going to be able to make this a simple story. You know, where I can compare Kellogg's and General Mills, two of the biggest cereal companies, and say something like, one of them has now decided that family size is only 18 ounces. But something super confusing happened. As I collected the numbers, I saw General Mills calls family size anything from as low as 16.1 ounces to up to 19 ounces. And Kellogg's now calls family size anything from 16.9 ounces to 24 ounces. So my guess.
and you're going to notice this, the whole name of the game here is all about branding, right? Branding that it's the larger sizes, branding that, you know, it's still that family size. But in reality, it's getting less and less in the grammage that they put in. They make the boxes taller, but they make them skinnier, so they objectively look bigger, but they're not bigger. It's just a play on the, like, it's crazy. It's if you've ever watched the movie, God, I probably have it. Hold on. I don't know if I can work that quick. So if you've ever watched the movie of God, what's it called? It's the Interview. If you've ever watched The Interview, right? You know exactly what I'm talking about in terms of when James Franco goes out to the grocery stores and sees all the fake. Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to pull that up quick. Sees all the fake food and everything. It's exactly what's happening, right? The emperor has no clothes. We're clearly heading into inflation and the prices are going up, but they don't want to display those prices because they're going up too quick. They're going up to a dramatic point, right? That $4 for the can, or for the sauce, up to $5. It's going up too quick, so we got to reduce how much is in the actual jar to still make a profit, right?
They are purposely giving family size a really wide range so that we can't really call them out at family barbecues or family dinners. If we try too hard to follow their tactics, we'll probably get overwhelmed and just give up and buy our cereal. Things are getting so weird in the cereal aisle that they're also throwing text on the top of the boxes that say large size for almost anything that they don't want to call family size. And they must know that you, the consumer, are starting to catch on. Cause cereals like Captain Crunch now display the size of the box proudly, as if it's part of the marketing. Let me assure you, the ounces of cereal in the box has traditionally been just the small print at the bottom, because we never really knew or cared what the size of the box was. This is all happening as inflation in the US rose almost 7% in 2021, the highest in almost 40 years. And because of this, companies are paying.
Oh, damn, that just broke too. Jesus Christ, what the, what? Oh, no, not you. Okay, yeah, wow, holy, Jesus, what? This just broke too. This just broke. This is a day ago. Holy, okay, well, I mean, yeah, fucking being a movie star does that to you, I guess. Jesus Christ. Can people just not be normal? Like, is that so hard to ask? Is it that hard? Like, can you just not be normal? Okay.
Paying more for their raw materials and then finding ways to keep profits strong. Take a look at how much more you'll be spending since last year on things like orange juice, eggs, and chicken. Okay, sure, 25 cents here, $1 there isn't that much, but these certainly add up over time, especially for more than half of Americans who say they are living paycheck to paycheck. So let me know what you think about shrinkflation. Have you noticed it in the things you're buying? While you're at it,
so basically, shrinkflation is a thing. I think this guy does a lot of great videos. He did a lot of good videos on Lebanon, so I definitely think check him out. Upton. He got Kevin Spacey. I mean, like, Kevin Spacey is objectively just like a terrible human being that's probably killed a couple of people. I mean, as much as I love some of his work, I think K-Pax is one of like the best pieces of media. Seven, you know, like some great films from Kevin Spacey, but he's objectively just an evil human being. Have you seen his, like, oh, hold on. Kevin Spacey always comes out with the bangers in Christmas, right? Always with the fucking crazy, like, shit. Have you guys seen that? Like, yeah, he's fucking insane, this guy. Yeah, but yeah, I guess so. Apparently he's a serial abuser. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't surprise me. It's just unfortunate, right? When you like a certain actor and then you get some, yeah, you find out that they're not like can't you all just be like Keanu Reeves? Like, is that just too much to ask? Is it, like, can we all just like embody Keanu, right? He's a stand-up guy. Please don't tell me that Keanu's been canceled. He's doing fine. He's a happy-go-lucky fellow, and would never do anything wrong. I think, and I hope. At least I know enough about Keanu Reeves said, I don't think he would. You know, that's unfortunate, man. That's yeah, definitely. I mean, it's rampant in media in Hollywood, right? A lot of that garbage is really rampant. A lot of sex crimes, a lot of crimes against children in media. Yeah, there's a lot of grubby shit up there. Well, this is how I go through it. I appreciate the pieces of work, right? Like I look at things. Yeah, of course, I don't think so. I look at things like some of Kevin Spacey's work to use an example. Kevin Spacey, again, I think is objectively just a terrible human fucking being. But that being said, I love Seven. I think Seven is like an amazing movie, a fantastic piece of art. A lot of people worked on Seven, and it shouldn't be torn down because of one actor's misconduct outside of the movie, outside of the production. Now, if like the production came up and like the production was like objectifying somebody, or there was sexual harassment happening through the production, I mean, boycott the movie, of course. But you know, yeah, I guess in a lot of ways you can like the work that they've done, but you don't have to appreciate the person. That being said, you know, I think Kevin Spacey has dodged some jail time, which I think is baffling in a lot of ways. I still think he should be in jail. You know, but you know, I think there was some witness tampering, allegedly. I'm going to be very careful with what I say, but you know, yeah, Kevin Spacey is just one of those special people. I'm surprised that I don't see anything from Kevin Spacey's YouTube on Christmas, because usually every Christmas he has something.
Kevin Spacey is heading to
like he had the crazy stuff, like here we go. Last Christmas, you see 1-800-Christmas. You have this one. This is when he really went off the rails. Let me be frank. This is when all the like stuff was really like falling down. I believe like one of the people in the case was like run over by a car and killed by a car. Like I don't know. Like there's some weird things happening like here. But yeah. It sucks because it's part of the industry in terms of like systemically it's part of the industry is with a lot of big actors and a lot of issues up top. There's a lot of systemic issues against violence against women and everything else. So yeah, that's sad to see from James Franco. Not surprising. It's not like he embodied like the epitome of a good person, but kind of shitty when I enjoyed some of the movies. So yeah, it is what it is. But we'll start to tie it all together, I guess, at the end of the day, to kind of wrap up everything in a nice big bow on Christmas, right? We talked about inflation. We talked about the Turkish Lira, what's going on in Turkey right now. Bitcoin is currently trading at 50,000, just above 50,000. And yeah, a lot of people are scared about where Bitcoin's going to go. A lot of people are scared that we're not going to hit the market peak in 2021, or that we have hit the market peak in 2021, I should say, and we're going to capitulate down into a bear market, which I don't think is the reality. I think more so the reality is that legacy financial markets like the USD markets, the pound markets, and all the other currency markets out there are going to suffer over the next year, and cryptocurrency and gold are going to go on a pretty lightning paced bull market in a lot of ways. I think really the safe assets are going to be good equities that are going to be able to stand a massive recession, if not a depression. And Bitcoin, because I'm telling you right now, if you look at our current economic climate, and I was thinking about this last night when I was preparing the live stream and when I was preparing everything to talk about today, when you look at the grand scheme of the economy right now, it is looking pretty dire, right? When you look at where the economy is compared to, say, other economic bad times, right? So if we look back at even the Spanish flu, right? If we look back at the time period of the Spanish flu, we didn't see a drop off on the stock market afterwards. Stock market actually like held pretty level throughout the whole pandemic, throughout that whole period of time. And of course, we boomed up. We had the boom after the World War, and went into a lightning paced stock market, and everyone thought that, hey, I need to get into stocks because you can only win in the stock market. And then 1930 happened, and we had the big economic crash into a massive depression. And the only thing that was able to get us out of the depression was World War II. In a lot of, well, I shouldn't say the only thing. Objectively, they were recovering before World War II. But a lot of the reason why the recovery happened in the 30s is because Germany started encroaching on Poland and other countries. The US was a huge supplier of arms and oil to the German front. So they were obviously funding the Germans, and they were also funding the Russians. So the US were funding both sides of this European war. Which was a huge boost to the metal economy in the United States. And then the United States eventually joined the war themselves, which boosted the economy then. Obviously, people buying war bonds and a huge production happening within factories to build tanks, build airplanes, and everything else, and get into everything. And kind of building up our economy, because war is objectively good for the economy. I don't think anyone can say anything about it. Whether it's objectively good morally is a totally different ideology. But war is going to boost the economy. So that's what happened through World War II. For some economies, for the winners, I guess. But fuck them losers. We see the effects on the losers, right? We see the effects on like what happened with Germany and their currency crisis. And now we're sitting in an area where we just ended, for the US at least, they just ended a 20-year war. We're now fighting with COVID, and there's no munitions to make. There's no oil to sell in COVID times. This is a war of attrition against our healthcare system. And that's what it comes down to, and that's going to hurt our economy because we're printing more money. We're trying to keep the economy afloat while people aren't working, and it's a big mess, and it's not going to go anywhere in a good light in a lot of ways. The crux of what I'm trying to say is USD bad, crypto good. So buy crypto. Bitcoin's obviously the safe haven. The best thing that you can do for your financial future is stacking sats. As much as I love altcoins too, like 40% of my portfolio is XRP. I hold a lot of Cardano. I hold a lot of Ethereum. I still hold a lot of Bitcoin, and I think the safest stuff that I hold is in Bitcoin. I hold a lot of my Bitcoin in a TFSA under the Bitcoin shares. That way I can have access to it tax-free. And you can do that in the States as well through a Roth IRA or an IRA. I don't know what the difference would be between a Roth or not Roth. But at the end of the day, there's tax-free vehicles to have Bitcoin in. And if you have Bitcoin in those tax-free vehicles, again, that's the safest thing that you can do for your financial future. Obviously, everything else in terms of Cardano, in terms of Polkadot, in terms of Sol, in terms of VeChain, that's all bets on the future of blockchain technology, where Web 3.0 is going to go, where this new structure of the internet, this new blockchain internet is going to take the economies going further. So I think there's a lot to be said about where cryptocurrency, where the economy is going to go. And I truly believe in crypto being the saving grace. So as bearish as crypto can feel at times, it's good to keep in perspective that, the real Ponzi is actually fiat currencies, right? The real Ponzi is that fake money that we all get paid in every single day and then we all buy groceries with, right? That's the real Ponzi. And at the end of the day, the only safe haven is going to be crypto and assets. So I think that's about the live stream. So we'll get to wrapping it up. If there's any questions, look into specific tokens. We'll spend the next 10 minutes talking about any token specifically. I'll quickly throw up the real shitcoin is the DXY and talk about this while we wait. Is the one big thing to understand about cryptocurrency is whether or not, if cryptocurrency does go up, it would be reliant, well, not reliant, but we would want to see the DXY or the dollar lose power, right? So we'd want the dollar to drop down in price. That would mean crypto is able to go up. This also works the same way with equities. If the dollar value goes down, equities are going to go up. Not because the equities are good, but more because the dollar value is low, so the price is going to go up. Yeah, no worries, man. I appreciate you being here the whole Christmas stream. I thought I was going to be alone, but you know, we had some people stop in, so that was really cool. I appreciate you stopping in. We're definitely going to inch into a lot of the longer format. I'd probably say I like live streaming a little bit more than just making the videos. I appreciate that a little bit more. I actually really like the idea of like live streaming on Twitch for other things. So maybe we dabble into that and we'll promote that. Let's talk about the pumpamentals of Doge. Actually, okay, no meme though. Dogecoin has the first roadmap. Oh, here we go. You want to talk about the pumpamentals of Doge? Let's do it. Dogecoin has the first roadmap that they've had since conception, right? So Dogecoin, this actually, we could say that Dogecoin bottomed out, right? We could even say that Dogecoin could potentially be gearing up for a move similar to, and obviously I'm memeing a little bit here. I think Dogecoin's gonna like be fine at the end of the day. No meme, but memeing here, right? Dogecoin to the moon. And that's how we do it. Dogecoin up. Oh, is this the market cap? Oh, this isn't even Doge, like the price. What's going on? Give me like the actual Dogecoin chart. Here we go. It's not even the full chart. That's okay. Look at this chart. So we've traded sideways. We've dealt with all the bearish bullshit, right? With Doge, all the haters hating on Doge, right? At the end of the day, Dogecoin's gonna make you millions. Get into Dogecoin. Dabble into that. It's a big fat it's a big fat consolidation. Look at that consolidation. Consolidating for basically the year, right? So good for Dogecoin. Hell yeah, rock on, brother. Yeah, Dogecoin. That's you know, at the end of the this is no, this is right. This is Doge, right? This is Doge USD. Okay, I think this is Doge. Either way, the real meme about Dogecoin, is there we go. That's the fucking beauty chart right there. Okay, the real meme about Dogecoin, when you think about it, like hold on, let's okay, I love doing this. All right, let's coin market cap. Let's pull up Dogecoin really quick, and I'm going to talk about like how much of a shitcoin another token is. So we have a total circulating supply of 132. Is that trillion? No, that's billion. Is that billion? Is that really billion? I thought for sure that it was in the trillions. 132 billion. Am I tripping? No, that's billion. 132 billion tokens, right? The real meme coin is the United States dollar at 300 trillion tokens. One node, the Federal Reserve, one governing body, the United States, not backed by jack shit, not backed by anything. It's not immutable. There's no tracking of the USD, but there's tracking of Dogecoin, right? So when you actually look into it, when you actually like put in perspective of like fiat currency, what's the actual meme? Is the meme Dogecoin, this Shiba Inu fun little meme, or is the meme the United States dollar, right? Is this the real meme? It's like that meme, what is it, like Hot Fuzz or whatever, some mall cop movie or something. Are we the baddies? Yeah, you are the baddies. The fucking United States dollar is the baddie. Like, Dogecoin is legitimately, no meme, a harder asset than the USD. I can't believe it almost hit $1. I mean, yeah, it's like super shocking, to be honest. In a lot of ways, it's super shocking. But in a lot of ways, like, I mean, like, you know, I can kind of get it. I can kind of understand it. I understand how people get so hyped up in the pumping, so hyped up about the memes, so hyped up about Elon Musk, and like saying Dogecoin to the moon and all this shit. But, you know, it's, I don't know. I think at the end of the day, Dogecoin does a very fantastic thing for cryptocurrency, is it gets exposure, right? People getting excited about Dogecoin doesn't upset me in any way. I mean, like when people are like, oh, my Dogecoin is going to do way better than your DOT at the end of the day, right? I'm like, okay, well, I mean, we can agree to disagree, right, about the interoperable future of Polkadot. But that being said, it gets people interested in the space. It gets people interested in cryptocurrency and blockchain technology, which it gets me super excited. So seeing the Dogecoin memes and the Dogecoin millionaires and people going from Dogecoin to Shiba Inu, you hype now? Yeah, man, I'm hyped about Dogecoin, bro. It's load up your bags, buddy. We're going to the moon. When you have all of those different aspects to it, Dogecoin bringing people into the space, I don't know. It gets me excited about people hyping about Dogecoin. Dogecoin has better fundamentals than the USD. Yeah, completely. It's that's the biggest meme, is that it, like, we literally spent the whole live stream talking about inflation, talking about the Turkish Lira going to shit. I mean, like, if they objectively bought Dogecoin, right, their Turkish Lira would still be going down, but Dogecoin's still going up. Can I actually, like, change this to the Turkish Lira? I don't think so. Oh, can I? Hold on. What's the ticker for the Turkish Lira? Oh my God, here it is. Oh, you can see it. You can see the downfall of the Turkish Lira. Oh my God, comparison to the Dogecoin chart. That's wild. That is wild. Hold on. Let's get this in here for a 7 day view. That absolute drop from the 2.9. Imagine one Dogecoin costing 2.93 of your dollars, right? Of your country's dollars. Imagine that for a second. Oh, that's scary. That's some scary shit. How do I get that changed? Oh, here we go. Back to USD. So I think there's a lot of good things to, yeah. There's a lot of things to be excited about going into the new year, right? A lot of things to be excited about, and I think blockchain at least is going to dampen the blow that the economy is going to take over the next little while. And this is why I don't stress. This is why I don't worry about where crypto is going to go. A lot of people are like super concerned about like whether or not we're going to hit the market peak, or what's going to happen with crypto. Am I going to be a millionaire in a couple of months? I mean, the reality is, if you hold cryptocurrency in 5 years, you're most likely going to like be very well off, right? The general turnaround of your portfolio every 5 years is huge. How much is actually like generated over the time? So if you hold crypto for 5 years and just don't think about it, you're going to be in profit. You've always been in profit. That just ruined my year. I mean, if that ruined your year, I don't know what fucking year you've been living in, bro, but 2021 has been horrendous in my opinion, okay? Absolute garbage. I think everyone can agree on that. If your year hasn't been ruined already, I am happy to be the person to do that for you 5 to 6 days before the end of the year. Yeah, how long do we have? Yeah, 6 days before the end of the year. So I'm happy to be that person for you. I'm happy to do that for you. I'm so excited that I could bring that to your life. I'm so happy for you about this. That's makes me super excited for you. So happy to ruin your year. Yeah, I think there's a lot to be said about where current economies are going to go, but this just goes to show why blockchain is the solution, why we need to get into blockchain, and why things like negating blockchain technology in Congress and everything else in legislation is a terrible thing to do. 2021 was arguably worse than 2020. Yeah, I completely agree. Like, absolutely. I think 2021, so this has been a progressional thing too, right? This happened in 2016. It's like slowly started since 2016. Like, I feel like something happened between 2015 and 2016 where we slipped into a timeline. Just like some weird alternate timeline, and everything's progressively gotten worse and worse and worse. It started with some celebrity deaths, right? It's sort of very like, it seemed kind of bad, and you have like people like David Bowie dying, and like some celebrity deaths and everything. And it's just like, oh, this is a really shit year. And then it just progressively got more and more shit until finally 2020 happened. And then it was just like, wow, this is a big pile of shit. And then 2021 happened, and we lit the pile of shit on fire. And that's basically what's happened over the last couple of years. So it's you know, it's been a fun 5 years so far. I'm excited to see where we're gonna go in the next 5 years that I have to suffer being alive. But hey, at least we will have crypto, and at least we will have family and all that, you know, bullshit. So there is some good sign. Bowie was the GOAT, wasn't he? I'm not ashamed to say this. I cried when David Bowie died. I also cried when Michael Jackson died too. I'm not ashamed to say that. What's the name of the website that I'm on? This is CoinGecko. Yeah, this is CoinGecko.com. It's like CoinMarketCap. So when you get there, it might look a little bright, right? You just change this night icon there. I like the nighttime, so it doesn't like burn anyone's retinas when I'm live streaming, especially when people watch my videos at night or something. You know, turn on the light and burn their retinas. Yeah, so. It's like that South Park episode where Stan sees everything. Yeah, that's actually a pretty good representation. It's like everything's shit. China's killing millions of people. You know, the world is objectively in like the darkest time that it's ever been. Yeah, everything is just shit. So all right, everyone, 101, that's a 2-hour live stream. So again, we will be live Monday and Wednesday, 4:30 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And of course, every Saturday, 11 a.m. Coffee and Crypto, but we've extended this live stream to 1 o'clock EST. Merry Christmas to everyone. I hope everyone has time to enjoy themselves with their family. Jared, get better. I hope you get through your COVID, you know, soon, fast. Stay hydrated, all that fun jazz. And I hope everyone has a happy holiday. But enjoy your night and take it easy, guys.